Alex the Car Doctor. Welcome back to another Diag video, good people. Today's patient is a Pentastar time, good people. Pentastar time. A 2013 Dodge Charger. Customer complaints is overheating, so we're getting into some coolant diagnostics today. And it looks like it's about to try to rain on me. So let me hurry this up so I won't get drenched on. The shop is full, so don't have no room currently. Let's pop the hood and let's see what we're looking like. Let's see. Do have about 176,000 miles on this bad boy. And with any coolant job, and this is what I suggest you do at home as well, if you suspect the car has overheated, especially if you don't know anything about it, always do a block test. It's just better safe than sorry. This will save you tons of money. I've seen this car before. It's been a while. I see aluminum oil cooler, so
we probably did.
Yep, I'm pretty sure we did that. It's been a minute since we've seen this car. I see a lot of residue down up in here. I'm gonna assume the radiator busted. Just an assumption. No, I think my assumption pretty right. Check this out. Come right around here. Look at all that coolant residue.
Shine your light.
It's like yellow paste all up in there. So, hopefully they didn't run it high. All right.
Now wait, cause teach the regular consumers about what running it hot actually is.
Jump in the driver's seat.
Okay.
And I'm gonna point to it. Point to what they need to look at. All right. So, good people. This goes for a lot of people out here. This is a temperature gauge. It's always gonna have a symbol that looks like this. So, I know we all have kids sometime, and sometimes people like to put pictures right in front of the temperature gauge. Do not do that. Normally when they put them right here, because they think the most important gauges is the speedometer and the fuel gauge, which there are, but I'd rather know what the temperature needs to be. The temperature needs to be somewhere in the middle. That's normal operating temperature. When a vehicle is running hot, that needle will move into the red zone. If you leave it in the red zone, you will blow your head gaskets, making a small problem into a major problem. So let's get back to it. Real quick, just getting out this car and I noticed they have bottles here. That normally indicates that the customer's been driving around with this problem for quite a while. What normally happens and what I see is people will have a problem and they don't have the money to take it to the shop yet, so they'll just keep topping it off. And what I see, it leads to a bigger problem. This goes for you guys at home. If you're having that type of issue, just don't drive the car, because if you keep putting water in it and if it's cold outside, you can crack your block. You can contaminate your cooling system with harsh metals that's in faucet water, because I'm pretty sure they're not using distilled water. You can just make the problem a lot worse. Hopefully that's not the case for them, but let's see and jump right back into this thing. Now, most customers would not give me the full story of things for some odd reason. I'm kind of used to it by now, so I have my little steps called investigation. I'm a good investigator when it comes to this stuff, because the last thing I want to do is sell somebody stuff they don't need, or I skipped a step and they need something else now. So I like to investigate so I can get it right the first time and tell the customer what really needs to be done. Guys, please tell your mechanics the full story. This, I'm pretty sure, well, I haven't
all he
received a
said
complaint.
was it was overheating.
They didn't say, oh yeah, we've been pouring water in it left from right. They don't tell me stuff like that for some odd reason. Don't lie to your mechanic and don't hold information. That's all I gotta say. It's not a pet peeve no more. It used to be, but yeah, you get used to stuff sometimes. So, all right, the first thing I'm gonna do is a block test. But what I like to do, my nose is really trained So I take a sniff and I'm smelling for combustion gas. It's really no good way of telling you how to do it. It's just one of those things you know, I don't know, I can't explain it, but I don't recommend doing it at home because you're not gonna know what you're smelling for. Another thing I like to look at is the radiator cap. I like to look at this first seal right here, make sure it's not torn. It look a little stretched out, but it's fine. Yeah, it's pretty fine. Yeah, she don't smell good people. I smell combustion gas, but that's not the proper way to do tests. That's just something quick that I do. So let's see if my nose is correct. I say this thing has a blown head gasket. Am I wrong? Am I right? Drop down in the comments right now. Tell me what you think. You think the doctor is right on this or wrong on this? Let's make it a fun game. Come on, pause it. Drop down in the comments right now. All right, let's get to the test. All right. Then, after I do the test, whether it's good or bad, I'm going to still do a pressure test on the system. I'm going to pour water in it because I know, you know, I'm going to be doing repairs to it anyway, so I know I'm going to flush it right back out. So it's okay for water, faucet water, any type of water.
He already got water in it.
I know, but I'm just telling
we don't want to waste Coolant because Coolant costs money.
Yes, exactly. So it's okay for testing purposes. Do not leave water in the cooling system. It can cause damage. I have my block tester here. You can pick these up all over the place at your local part stores. I like buying, that's what I was gonna say, buying my block test fluid from Napa because it gives you this really dark shade of blue. The other block test fluids that I've seen, they'd be too light and it's really hard to read.
What about Harbor Freight?
I think they're starting to sell this now.
Okay.
They used to sell the lighter stuff. So you got to be careful because my years of using block test fluid, I'm making a mess too. I've came across some real janky block test fluid. Now, also when you're doing this, I know it ain't no coolant in here. It's pretty dry. You don't want to do a block test with the coolant level full because you can contaminate your block test fluid. And you'll know you contaminated because if you fill this water line up right here and you discover you having more water than you started with, you know it's automatically contaminated. I know I don't have it completely full. It's just, I know it ain't gonna get contaminated, so I don't find a need to fill it all the way up to the line. Unless you're just like really nitpicky. So, we're gonna start the car now. Oh. Ooh, she didn't want to start there. That battery is a little questionable. Now, this process takes about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm already starting to see some bubbles, which is a good sign. Now, I know I keep mentioning combustion gases. Combustion gas is not supposed to be in the cooling system, and that's what this is detecting, combustion gases. Combustion gas is supposed to be exiting the tailpipe. When you blow a head gasket, that stuff will mix into the cooling system. It gets a lot more complicated. It's best to show you a demonstration, which I don't have available right now, so just excuse me on that. Now, what we're looking for, what we want to happen is this fluid stay blue. If it turns yellow, it's got a blown head gasket. So as of right now, we're looking good, but we're only like, what, a couple of minutes into the test? So I'm gonna sit here and let it run, and I'll let you know if anything changes. Or I try to catch it on camera. Now, I haven't topped off the cooling system yet, so I can't let this thing run more than 10 minutes. Been having it running for like 10 minutes now. It's okay for it to run without coolant. You just have to make sure you look at the gauge every now and then. And I'm pretty sure it's kind of still a little coolant in there. But for the test, good people, look here. Y'all don't pay me to think. Y'all pay me to do the test, right?
Or sniff.
That's thinking.
Because you're wrong.
I'm wrong. Looking at this, it has passed. It's still like a bluish green that normally, from my experience over the years, she's golden. She doesn't have a blown head gasket, because if it did, this would be like pea yellow, literally pea yellow. So let me go ahead and turn this off and switch to the next test. Man, I'm happy for this person. That means they didn't let it run hot. So that's good. Some people don't get so lucky. All right.
Or
now,
some mechanics don't do the simple block test.
Yeah.
Sell them the radiator and they come back.
look, funny story. We have a I think a 16 Ultima in the shop now that's getting an engine. Customer states that she drove it to work and came back outside and the car didn't start no more. Again, not mentioning all the information. Got the car here, checked it out. The first thing I noticed, I don't know, road rage incident or whatever the case may be. Let's just show them. Let's take a break from this real quick and come this way. So here's the car in question. This is what I noticed when it came. So I'm like, gosh, this is bad. So I was teasing with her. What, you been running people off the road? What's going on? She didn't tell me the full story. I don't know what she hit or who hit her. She mentioned that the radiator was cracked, or she had somebody take a look at it. I see a cat.
Yeah, I do.
That's probably one of our cats.
Yeah.
Anywho, sorry about that. We cat people. And they, yep, that's one.
Oh, there's Oreo.
Dad, what done bit you?
Oh, poor
They
thing.
got into a fight. Oh. All right,
Back
sorry
to-
about that. So the guy came out, was like, we need to put a radiator on it. And we need to start off with a radiator. I'm like, good people, a radiator would never cause a vehicle not to start. Yeah, riding around with a cracked radiator will blow your head gaskets and then make the vehicle not start. But while it's cold, you can crank a car without a radiator. So I'm like, he shouldn't have never put a radiator on it. He should have did the proper test, letting you know that the car had a blown head gasket. She ran this thing so hot, it probably warped the block. It was bad, because I did get it to start. But we're putting the engine in this. So as you can see, it's no engine in it now. This is a rough job. You got to pull the engine and transmission together just to get the engine out. Very, very silly. So let's get back to
I
this.
think we should mention that the engine, these Nissans get a bad rep for the CVT transmissions, but the engines are
Oh,
strong.
the engines are bulletproof on these.
That's why it's so
I stand by
cheap.
these engines. So I think this engine was like $500.
Yeah.
It's $500 because
they don't
no
go out.
one ever buys them. They're just like sitting around. They're trying to literally give them away. Here, take it, please. It's the transmissions. The transmissions used sell for what, $2,000?
Yep.
So, whew, and it's not guaranteed. So,
Back to the Dodge.
yep, back to the Dodge.
Come on, pick up Oreo. Pick him up.
Oh, I'm on back.
Somebody done hurt our cat.
Let's get this next test started. About to find the appropriate cap here, which I think this one is it. Let's make sure. Oh, but first I have to add water, because you can't do this test on an empty stomach. I'll drink plenty of fluids. There we go. Drink up there, Charger. Enjoy that. Let it digest that a little bit. And I'm getting it everywhere. Now, if this was coolant, of course, I'd be a lot more careful. So it was only like 3/4 of a gallon low. So it had coolant in the system, but just not enough. Let's see. Oh yeah, I lock that in place. Now, what I like to do is take a look at the cap. That will give me an idea what to pump it up to. This cap relieves its pressure at 18 foot-pounds. Every cap has a pressure rating. That's when the spring will relieve the pressure of the system, and it'll go into the overflow. So I'm gonna pump it up to like Well, until I see it leaking, even if it even pumps up. Let's see. I think it's leaking right back out, because normally it don't take this long. It's a workout right here. Yeah, I think it's leaking, because normally it don't take that long. No, maybe it's not. All right, let me keep pumping. Call for backup. I was getting tired of pumping it up. My arm was getting tired because the seal kept breaking. Guess I was moving it, and I was like, man, I'm done. Now, I see the leak right here. You're not going to be able to see it. It's more of a seep. Yeah, it's not. It's just like a little wet residue on the fins. So it's seeping out real slow. I think it's actually leaking from the aluminum part. Now, coolant leaks are funny. Sometimes they'll show their butt when it's hot, but looking for coolant leaks when it's hot is not recommended. I've scalded myself doing that one time before. I jumped up in the engine bay trying to look up back there somewhere, and my foot had just tapped the radiator neck, and it just blew, and it was like probably 200 degrees.
You didn't have no skin on your foot for like months.
It was horrible. It was just worst pain ever. I think I had to take pain pills for that one. I'm also going to recommend a thermostat. I think this is like a housing. It's weird. Some type of plastic backing plate. I hate this design. Everything is plastic. But I pumped it up to 16, and it's holding. So that lets me know it's seeping, and it's not like pouring out. It's a slow process. There's a difference between a seep and a leak. Leak is something that you can physically see spraying out or leaking, and a seep is a slow process of a leak. Sometimes you're not going to be able to see it.
Kind of like sweat.
Yes, sweat is more like leaking. You can see sweat.
No, some people just weak sweat, you know.
So I've seen what I need to see. There's the evidence to prove it. I have everything I need to make a good decision to recommend a radiator and a housing just for preventive maintenance sake, because that's seeping too. It's a lot of dried up coolant, and sometimes it's not good to trust plastic, especially old plastic. His hoses look pretty good, so I'm not gonna really recommend those. Yeah, I don't feel anything funny with them. So, yeah, let's go talk with the customer and make my recommendations, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, good people. The customer approved 2 out of the 3 recommendations. As you see, this is the crossover piece that was leaking up at the top. It appears just to be a worn out seal. And some of you may be asking, well, why you just didn't replace the seal? Well, I don't like going back in with plastic stuff. If I would have just replaced the seal and threw this old piece back on there, down the line, it would have cracked or ruptured some type of way, like plastic does. It gets brittle and gets old. Here at Alex the Car Doctor, I fix cars for the long haul. So we opted for the aluminum dormant solution. And I'll give you the part number too, which is, I'm doing a bad job. Can you see that? That's the part number for that crossover pipe. Bam. Now, the other recommendation was the thermostat housing. I was gonna go with the aluminum version of that one too. But he declined that one, which I understand. He said he just did the thermostat. But me knowing these always give issues, especially the Motorad, which is a good brand, by the way. But I always have comebacks dealing with those Motorad thermostat housings for the Pentastar. Again, you have, I think what goes on, you have this metal heavy duty spring right here, and it's plastic. So I think this plastic, when it gets soft, whatever plastic does, I think it kind of warps and it throws this out of alignment and the thermostat stops working, or it gets cocked sideways, and it throws a thermostat code because it's out of alignment because it's plastic. Now, the radiator, check this out. The leak that I saw when I pressure tested, it was coming from, I think, right up in here. It was actually coming from the aluminum portion. I think it's probably way back there where these tubes meet the end tanks. So as you can see, just trails of coolant trickling down. So that was my failure point on this particular radiator. So I'm gonna let my guy get back to work, and for some odd reason, we always see this with Pentastars. Raphael pointed it out to me the other day. Let me just move this out of the way so I can show you. For some odd reason, the front radiator support has always been up. Like someone takes a jack and jack up on it. This radiator is bent. Check that out. So that's another problem with it. And look at the radiator support. Bent. So we're gonna bend that back in place for him and get it all set. He's gonna get back on that. As you can see, the front bumper had to come off on this particular model. I normally do it without taking the front bumper off, but it's a lot harder. My man likes to work easy, so I let him do him. All right, about to pull in another charger. I know I said Dodge, but Dodge, Chrysler, don't matter. This one is a 2013 Chrysler 300. And with the same issues. Got the Pentastar, and this one has coolant issues similar to that one, but this one is in for a water pump. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock that out for him to get him back on the road.
Looks like he already upgraded.
Yeah, that's a plus. I see a lot of good things, which I'm gonna turn the good into bad right now. Let's take a start, and I'm gonna let the viewers decide what is going on. Let them, y'all write down in the comments, what do y'all hear? They're gonna be able to hear it. Write down in the comments. Y'all know what it is. It has that Pentastar tick, baby. So yeah, he's gonna need some lifters and the whole thing.
But the car has 199,000 miles. So
Sheesh.
there's no sense of us doing the lifters
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, that's a conversation for another day. He's not gonna like it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started busting this down so we can get this car back to him. All righty, good people, that's gonna wrap this up. Like I always say, double, triple check anytime, anything, anytime something get done. You know me, I'm always messing up my words. Everything looks good. That pretty much wraps up this video. Hope y'all enjoyed that. If you liked it, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It helps the channel out and keep me motivated to bring you good content. Alex the Car Doctor out. See you guys on the next one.